Just a disclaimer, this writing piece contains political commentary, educational discussion, and opinions protected under fair use and freedom of expression. It does not promote violence or hate. If you would like to read this as a transcript, I also posted it onto my Substack, which I have linked down below. Hello everyone, I'm going to read you something that I wrote. This is going to be a little different than normal. It's a complete change of pace for me, in fact. Unless you follow me more closely or in person, you may not know that politics, especially what has been happening in the United States, has had me extremely concerned. This is not only a call to action to you, the viewers that have been following along with me, but also to myself to use my platform as education and as resistance. I believe that if we don't come together quickly, we may lose our collective voices altogether. This might feel uncomfortable and painful. I know that it does for me. And I know also how hard the everyday comforts of privilege are to let go of. But discomfort is the start of growth. As Kwame Nkrumah has said, freedom is not a commodity which is given to the enslaved upon demand. It is a precious reward, the shining trophy of struggle and sacrifice. In efforts to express myself and disseminate useful information like protest materials, for example, my posts and stories posted on a platform by Meta see a viewership decline in the thousands almost immediately. I noticed this back in 2020 when I was living in Los Angeles and attempting to post about the Black Lives Matter protests that I had been attending. I was trying to tell everyone how the LAPD were tear gassing and shooting rubber bullets at completely innocent and peacefully protesting people. I witnessed these things with my own eyes. This is my lived experience. You might even remember how Trump commented in reaction when the looting starts, the shooting starts. I remember how for weeks, the helicopters roamed the skyline, their deafening roar a reminder of the current panopticon we find ourselves living in, and how the ruling class will do anything to keep us, the people, from uniting under a shared cause. I've been online forever. Growing up, it was the biggest source of freedom of expression for me. My nerdy interests that got me shunned at school were accepted in small online communities. In fact, in times when I often lacked a real, concrete community, I found it easily online. That was life-changing for me. I don't think I would be who I am today, and for that, I am endlessly grateful for the journey that coming of age during the inception of these apps that now rule our life has given me. That doesn't change the fact that I also now believe that they are not being used to their capabilities, and in fact, are deterring us in so many ways, especially at the hands of the most powerful who own all the media outlets and social media platforms and use them in furtherance of their selfish agendas. Brain rot is fun. My internet footprint is plain to see, and it dates back to the early 2000s, okay? I can't deny that I have participated in it and encouraged it at times. But how many scrolls is it going to take to satiate us? When you put the phone down, do you feel satisfied? I didn't. Never once. I don't. The internet has made us all nihilists, keeping us afraid and feeling powerless. I personally became a self-proclaimed nihilist at the ripe age of 17 when I first started my bachelor's degree program. Now at 26 and in need of putting this master's degree to good use, I thought, what better way than through my original loves, literature, film, and finding community? I moved out of New York City in 2016 during Trump's first run. Pursuing my dreams and passions, albeit a bit naively, I moved to my home away from home in Seoul and got a bachelor's degree in comparative literature and culture at Yonsei University. Though I was happy, my studies began to radicalize me in a new way. Growing up in New York City, some would already call me radical. I attended a performing arts school, after all. Most, if not all of my friends would consider themselves to be queer. I think I'm actually the outlier. Race was always seen and respected. I'm shocked that some Europeans tell me that they didn't know that it was bad or unacceptable to say the N-word until they were much, much older. In New York, you just know. And if you don't know, somebody's going to make you aware. At Yonsei, I began to delve deep into literature and film that would finally shake me and make me start thinking about things other than K-pop or my parents' divorce, other than myself. The Trump administration's attacks on students and universities is very, very targeted and purposeful in this way. They know that educated people question authority and policy. Thankfully, I was lucky that some of my favorite professors who taught us about counterculture in times of censorship began to show me the importance of having my own backbone and caring about things deeply. Being sensitive was always my superpower. I became unafraid of expressing it. You see, a person who began an entertainment career at 6 years old, like me, no longer has the energy to care about what people might say or what people might think. I'd like to believe there's more for me to do than to please people's expectations of me. So I chose to please mine first and foremost. Reading satanic literature actually influenced me deeply here, and before you scream in horror or start calling me a Satanist, just know that it's not what you're imagining, and I would actually love to talk about that in a future video or article. So let me know if you're interested. My fierce self-expression and independence is what I attribute my ability to amass a platform to above all else, and for that I'm truly grateful. It's the reason I now feel called to a responsibility to act, to use my voice and find community again. For almost a decade now, while doom scrolling alone in bed, I've watched everything get worse in 4K through the all-new Super Retina XDR screen. We are bombarded with content from all sides. An absolutely disturbing video of the genocide in Gaza will be followed by snackfluencers trying to freeze wax candy to get the most satisfying crunch, which is followed by a red-pilled manosphere Chad listing reasons why they're better the younger you get them. You like it? You want more? Perfect. It's endless. Come, have a scroll. How many hours a day do you spend on your phone? For me, it's a lot. I started to think that believing that nothing matters and there was nothing little old me could do to change anything was also ruining my own reality. How could I complain about what I was observing when I sat there watching it happen, hating myself, hating life, hating everything and everyone, wishing I had never been born into these predicaments? But I learned that there were actually things I could do to reclaim my power and feel like my voice mattered. Though small, these things absolutely make a difference. It started with questioning the world and gaining knowledge through reading, then talking to friends and family about our shared lived experiences, and then joining online communities and attending protests. Change happens at the grassroots level. Isolating myself was never the answer. Naturally, the sort of content I started to post shifted from its previous tone. I started to have a voice, to have passion, to demand more from life. And people didn't like it, and they still don't. And sure, I fall victim to imposter syndrome. I do not have a background in history or politics. I'm very aware of how underqualified I am to speak about any of this. I'm aware. But that is also the whole point. I'm coming to you right now out of necessity to see if you share these same desires, if you share these same fears as me. I have the desire to learn and a passion also to bring about change. I'm a zillennial who remembers a time before social media was everything, before what you had and who you could be was all that we aspired to. I lived in Hollywood in 2019 to 2020, and I was amongst many of the most fortunate on this planet. Those born with a silver spoon in their mouths. They had everything, okay? Big, huge empty houses and all the psychedelics that one person could hoard. These people could laze all day, force restaurant workers making minimum wage to stay open late so they could then binge, and filled their houses with libations and the freshest gaggle of new young influencers on the scene. Don't you see? It's not just Diddy. It's not just Epstein. Yes, it was them, but it's capitalism. It's patriarchy. All of these functions keep those with the most capital protected and make sure to keep those who are oppressed. The legal system and cops were never meant to protect and serve us, the people. They are simply enforcers of this system. It was never about empowering the people. I'm sure you can see it now. Due process being revoked, legal residence being reported, and it being reported as an oopsie, Bondi recommending the feds seek the death penalty for Luigi before an indictment has even been filed. Project 2025 was a declaration of war. We aren't on the brink of oligarchy and fascism. We are currently in it. I need you to listen to that very carefully. I believe that all of our rights are at stake. It does not affect you now, but it will. No matter what political ideology you may label yourself as, everything is under attack. The rights to freedom of speech, press, religion. I believe in due process. I believe in the rights laid out in the Constitution. And though I have always been staunchly for gun reform, I do also believe that it is imperative that we educate ourselves on arms and the use of them should we come into contact with them. Can I read you a quote? It's by Abraham Lincoln. These are his words, not mine. I have to say that I'm recommending this for the purposes of education. I found this quote in a text called The Anarchist Cookbook, which would be my recommended reading for this week. I believe it is important to cultivate civic awareness and educate ourselves on self-defense and the tactics that could be used against us in the future. I cannot link this text, but free PDFs are available online. It's very easy to find. The quote reads, "This country, with its institutions, belongs to the people who inhabit it. Whether they shall grow weary of the existing government, they can exercise their constitutional right of amending it or their revolutionary rights to dismember or overthrow it." I want you to remember that revolution is intellectual, it is cultural, it is economical, and it is collective. Knowledge is power, and your voice does have value. So on that note, I'm coming to you today to ask if you will join me in my pursuit of knowledge. Though my platforms have admittedly and very purposefully not been a safe place for cisgender white men, especially those who weaponize their privilege and self-harm by indoctrinating themselves with patriarchal ideas, perhaps you also have the potential to listen and to learn. If you have come for this purpose, I welcome you too. Perhaps you too are scared and tired of not being enough in this life. Perhaps you too are willing to take the burden off of your own shoulders and embrace community over capital, to embrace empathy and compassion over individualism and power, to embrace people over profit. I know many young women, many queer people, people of color who want to speak up and are very passionate but are scared. I want to amplify you. I want you to feel confidence. I will protect, defend, and fight for you as best as I can. We, the people, are the powerful ones, especially when we come together. I want to help you, us, find that power. I want to use my platform here to disseminate information that I deem potentially useful during these times, and to also open up a space in which you guys can interject and share your own experiences with me as well, and with this platform. I want to read you passages and show you diagrams. I want to talk through the news, no matter how stupid I sound or how much I want to crawl in a hole and die over it. Will you support me? Will you do something other than doom scroll with me? Thank you for listening.